Hey guys, my name is Eden and I'm one of the owners of wellaseed.com. Welcome to episode 2 of CBD Knowledge. On this episode of CBD Knowledge, we'll be discussing the endocannabinoid system and why it's important, why you should even care about it in the first place. And to help simplify this entire video, because this is an in-depth topic, I've broken it up into 8 sections to help break it into bite-sized pieces for you to more easily comprehend and understand. So let's get started on why the endocannabinoid system is important. So, section 1, the endocannabinoid system and homeostasis. Your endocannabinoid system is your body's homeostatic regulator. The definition of homeostasis is the tendency towards a relatively stable equilibrium between interdependent elements, especially as maintained by physiological processes. Homeostasis balances your body, controlling such things as your body temperature, blood pH, and blood glucose levels. And these are among the many things your body does to maintain homeostasis. So in all, homeostasis is the concept that most biological systems are actively regulated to maintain conditions within a narrow range. So you can basically look at your body's endocannabinoid system as a vital molecular system for helping maintain homeostasis throughout your body. So if your endocannabinoid system is functioning properly, then you will enjoy homeostasis throughout your body and in turn a better quality of life. Alright, so now that leads us on to section 2. This will be the introduction to the endocannabinoid system. So when it comes down to it, the human endocannabinoid system is absolutely essential for human life. However, this vital human body system was actually not discovered until the mid-90s while researchers were studying the harmful effects of cannabis. Isn't that ironic? So the endocannabinoid system is present all throughout your body. In fact, your endocannabinoid system connects your mind to your body, so that's a very important factor. Specifically, the ECS or endocannabinoid system coordinates communication between your brain and central nervous system, cardiovascular system, respiratory system, gastrointestinal system, muscular skeletal system, and your immune system and other parts of your body. So depending on the area of your body, your endocannabinoid system performs different tasks. But at the end of the day, the goal is always homeostasis. And that leads us to section 3. So now that you guys are familiar with kind of what the endocannabinoid system is and kind of the importance of it, now in section 3 we're actually going to be discussing the bodily functions your endocannabinoid system controls. And this is a big one. You're going to be very surprised to hear of how many bodily functions that your endocannabinoid system actually controls and plays a role in. So each and every day your endocannabinoid system is regulating these bodily functions, which include your sleep, your appetite, digestion, hunger, mood, motor control, immune function, reproduction and fertility, pleasure and reward, pain, memory, temperature regulation, stress response, and inflammation. That is a huge use case. I mean, a lot of you will use CBD to combat inflammation, and honestly, if you look at a lot of diseases and ailments, the root cause is from inflammation. So you can see how effective and how beneficial CBD can truly be. So now that we've discussed kind of the bodily functions your endocannabinoid system controls, let's go into section 4, which we're going to be discussing cannabinoid receptors. Alright guys, welcome to section 4. In this section we're going to be discussing cannabinoid receptors. So if you were able to take a peek inside of your body, you would find that there are cannabinoid receptors kind of sprinkled all throughout your body. Essentially, cannabinoid receptors function like locks on your cells until the right cannabinoids bind to your cells and essentially unlocking it. So there are 2 major cannabinoid receptors, which are known as CB1 and the CB2 receptors. These aren't the only cannabinoid receptors, but they were the first ones discovered and remain the most and best studied. So CB1 receptors are one of the most abundant receptor types in your brain, which is also the receptor THC engages with to make you feel the psychoactive effects or the high that most of you are familiar with. While CB2 receptors are more abundant outside of your nervous system in places like your immune system. So that about wraps it up for section 4 and cannabinoid receptors, and now let's discuss the endocannabinoids. Section 5. In this section, we're going to be discussing endocannabinoids. Endocannabinoids are the substances your body naturally produces to stimulate these cannabinoid receptors that we just discussed in the previous section. So when you break up the word endocannabinoid, endo simply means within your body, and cannabinoids are the compounds that fit into your cannabinoid receptors, the CB1 and CB2 receptors. Researchers have discovered two major endocannabinoids that are produced naturally inside your body, which are known as 2-AG and anandamide. So, these endocannabinoids are made from fat-like molecules within cell membranes and are synthesized on demand. So, meaning that they get made and used exactly when they're needed, rather than packaged and stored for later use like many biological molecules. And this is very important because you don't just have excess endocannabinoids floating around your body. They are only produced when it's required by your body, and when your body requires them, they're instantly used. So now that leads us into section 6. So now that we've discussed endocannabinoids in section 5, in section 6 we're going to be discussing endocannabinoids and retrograde signaling. So, did you know that cannabinoid receptors are the most abundant in your brain than any other type of neurotransmitter? Just think about that for a second. That is crazy to know that your brain is filled with cannabinoid receptors. So, endocannabinoids are known as retrograde signals, which prevent the immune response, reduce inflammation, relaxes your muscles, lowers your blood pressure, normalizes overstimulated nerves, and dilated bronchial passages. So that's important for many of you who are suffering from respiratory diseases such as COPD. Simply put, retrograde signaling tells other neurotransmitters to slow down when they are firing too fast. Endocannabinoids are the only neurotransmitter that engage in this process. So now this leads us into section 7. Alright, so now that we've discussed endocannabinoids and retrograde signaling, in section 7 we're going to be discussing clinical endocannabinoid deficiency. And this is a very important thing that many of you are going to find out that this may be the root cause of why you're feeling sick or ill. So when your ECS or endocannabinoid system is disrupted and falls out of balance, it can lead to dysfunction and disease. So clinical endocannabinoid deficiency occurs when your body does not produce enough endocannabinoids or can't regulate them properly, leaving you more susceptible to diseases and illnesses. Phytonutrients like CBD, which can come from hemp plants, are plant substances that stimulate your cannabinoid receptors to perform basically the same function as endocannabinoids that are naturally produced within your body. Plant-based cannabinoids bind to your cannabinoid receptors just like endocannabinoids, making them highly effective for regulating your mind and bodily functions. And that's very important because if you suffer from clinical endocannabinoid deficiency, using plant-based cannabinoids such as CBD or THC can be extremely effective for your overall homeostasis and quality of life. So that about wraps it up for section 7. Now let's go into the last and final section, section 8. Alright, so now that we've discussed clinical endocannabinoid deficiency in section 7, in the last and final section, section 8, we're going to be discussing healing and the role of your endocannabinoid system. So in the event that you become injured, both endocannabinoids and phytocannabinoids go to work to help minimize your pain and heal the damage. So this is done in 3 ways. Way 1 is both endocannabinoids and phytocannabinoids help decrease the release of activators and sensitizers from the impacted area. 2, they help calm down nerve cells in the affected area to prevent excessive firing, helping to prevent neurons from being overloaded by signals which can be toxic. So the last and third way that this is done is endocannabinoids and phytocannabinoids will allow nearby immune cells to relax, and as a result, this prevents the release of inflammatory boosting substances. Still not convinced about the role of your endocannabinoid system in healing? Well, researchers now believe that the regulation of the endocannabinoid system is essential for treating cancer, pain, obesity, inflammation, epilepsy, asthma, schizophrenia, addictions, Alzheimer's disease, nausea, glaucoma, arthritis, insomnia, stroke. Guys, the list just goes on and on. And I urge you to go out and do your own research on the endocannabinoid system and CBD and THC as well. Yes, what I'm providing with you right now is accurate and important information that you need to know. But as always, I urge everyone to go out and do their own research. Well, guys, that about wraps it up for CBD Knowledge Episode 2. I hope you guys learned a lot about the endocannabinoid system and the importance of it for your overall health. I'll see you guys next week on the next episode of CBD Knowledge.